Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's September the 3rd. Welcome to another episode of StuTube. Thanks for tuning in. As most of you are well aware, there's been some interesting developments in the crypto space in the last couple days, so we're going to take a look at that. We're going to dive right into looking at Bitcoin, a new macro chart. Actually, it'll look very familiar for most of my fans here. And as well, we're going to take a look at Ethereum and even a trade I'm in currently with Bitcoin. So with that, guys, if that sounds good to you, if you could please smack that thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and with that, let's hop right in. We're going to start by hopping into the weekly Bitcoin chart here, guys. And you guys know my last few videos, I've been pointing out this red resistance box and that I thought that it might end up giving Bitcoin a little bit of trouble. I did have a trend line mapped out something like this the other day, and as you can see, we just fell right through it. If you zoom in on a smaller time frame, I mean, it just cut through like butter. It really didn't serve any significance, and it only did have 2 touch points, so it never got that support that I was kind of hoping for from a bullish standpoint. But one thing I want to point out that some of my older fans might remember is I used to be comparing this chart and this little bit of a rising channel to the Tesla chart. And that was one of the reasons why I ended up playing this big breakout here and making some good trades there. You can look at my older videos where I was kind of going more into detail with that. But what I was looking for is breaking out of this channel, which we did, and even giving it a bit of support test. But obviously what happened here is it was a fake out, plain and simple. We got above it and we ended up crashing back down. But I don't want to rule out this pattern yet because we do still have, I would say it's a significant line of support because for a while here you can see that it was being treated as a bit of resistance right after the COVID dump. And after that we kind of started respecting it on a weekly time frame as support, and if I zoom into the daily you'll probably recognize it a little better. Do you remember now how bullish I was in this whole cluster because I thought that we were in this exact channel and I thought we would be testing the upside of that. So I don't want to rule out this channel, and as well, even if it happens in the next couple days in this kind of area, it would make sense to test this green channel as well as my white triangle. If I zoom back out to the weekly especially, that basically intersects each other this week. So if also one thing I want to point out is I don't have the chart loaded up, guys, but with the CME futures, I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but often gaps form in the charts, and there is a gap down at about 9,600, I think I heard it was. Sorry, I'm not super prepared on that. That's kind of off the top of my head here. But those gaps love to fill, and that's very close to both this triangle retest as well as this parallel channel. That's 3 indicators saying that we might be heading to that price, not only in general, but potentially this week or next week. So this dump wasn't overly unexpected. I mean, you guys know that I have been really bullish, but I also said that I'm not always 100% moon boy. Speaking of not always being moon boys, guys, guess who finally took their first short in a very long time? Is this guy. StuTube nailed a short. I just kind of wanted to prove to myself, you know what? I haven't played a short in a long time. This looks like a good opportunity, even though I am bullish on the market for mid to long term. This just looked like a good snipe. I put in, it was quite a small position, guys, compared to my normal ones, and I just really wanted to collect a little bit of free BTC on the way down. So you can see here I mapped out this green trend line down connecting these 2 wicks, so I figured that we were going to dump down to somewhere in this area. So it was pretty ridiculous. I didn't expect this to play out near this fast. I basically set a 20x short at 10,670 at 20x because we lost this. This is just looking at a day trade snipe, guys. I lost this yellow line of support. You can see here we had our 1 touch point, 2 touch points. We had our third green candle close there, and then we started closing candles below. And on top of that, I was watching these purple trend lines here. You can see from this last little dump here, connected that. It was looking like the resistance was going to hold. So there was just a few things adding up there, guys. And just with looking at the long-term trend and how I think we might be ready to retest that triangle, I am willing to play the downside. I locked in half of my position at about 10,050. Just in case that nice even round 10,000 was going to act as support, as well as this channel potentially getting this support flip. So I still have half my position open. I have stop losses updated in place. I can't lose on this position. I'm going to have to see what the chart does from here. I would be interested in adding back into my short, depending how the chart looks, looking for more indications that things are going to continue to the downside, even if it is just adding for another little snipe. That sort of stuff, guys. I also want to take a look back at the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin. You guys know that I had played some long positions based on this wedge pattern. I have this purple falling wedge, as well as in this green box we had this double bottom, and if I pulled up the RSI, I did in the last video, there was a bullish divergence there, kind of furthering my point that we were going to move to the upside a little bit. And I had also pointed out that there was the potential here that we were going to get rejected at the 0.618 fib line. And even in my last video, I said we did get above it, and I was looking at that as a bit of a, even though we had a fake out and we started closing candles back below, I said it was good that we did end up at least getting that high. But I did have that on my radar that since we were closing candles below, there was the chance of a harsh rejection. And well, you can see exactly what happened. We just fucking dumped. And one thing I want to point out here, speaking of my trades, I'm going to go into Ethereum because, you know, I was in a trade on that in my last video. Notice this green box. Sorry, I know this is kind of messy, but this green box right here, you can see Bitcoin just hammered right through it. Whereas if we go to Ethereum, that is this box right here. If I go out to the 4-hour, that's our double bottom with that wedge, the similar pattern. I pointed out how it was the same on Ethereum. Ethereum obviously broke out much harder, but we are back at that level and we have not crashed through it yet. If I zoom out even further to the daily, that's a very important line of support, I would figure. If we do happen to break through that, I mean, things could take a bearish turn and we might end up testing one of these white trend lines, but I mean, that's quite a drop if we would drop that pretty quick. Obviously, that could be something like a 20-30% drop somewhere in there. But that's looking pretty far into the future. Right now, I'm just more interested to see if Ethereum also hammers through this double bottom box and gets the further downside just like Bitcoin did. Anywho, guys, we have company over, and I think I've rambled on long enough. I just wanted to show you the trade that I currently took. That was insane. I hit something like 110% profit within about half hour, just stepping outside for a little bit there. So that was just beautiful, and obviously I still have part of my position open. With that, guys, obviously none of this has been financial advice. Always do your own research and form your own opinions. I'm just showing you what the charts are showing me and how I'm looking at them personally and how I'm kind of looking to play them. So again, if you could leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you hadn't, share it with a friend if you like this content and you think there's important information and good trend lines to follow, that sort of thing. That would all help out the channel and that would be much appreciated. With that, guys, I am out. Peace. Stay safe, my friends.